Good afternoon, everybody. Today we discuss about the laser. What is mean by laser? Laser stands for light amplification, a stimulated emission of radiation. Stimulated emission of radiation. Now we discuss about properties of laser. First property, it is highly coherent. Second, it is unidirectional source. Unidirectional. Third, laser has very less divergence power. Fourth, it is very brighter and intense. These are four basic properties of laser. First, laser is a coherent source, means it has a same or maximum wavelength. Second, unidirectional means it is travel in one direction only. Laser has less divergence, means the spreading property of laser is less. Third, it is intense and brighter. Now we discuss the principle of laser. Here basically three principles of laser. First, absorption. Second, spontaneous emission. Third, stimulated emission. Stimulated emission. Here now in first we discuss the absorption in detail. Here you consider a diagram. E1 as a ground state, E2 excited state, Here consider initially atom A in lower ground state E1 which has lower energy and E2 is the excited state means higher energy. Here when atom in ground state can absorb energy of photon h mu, then this atom in lower excited state can jump into the higher excited state. This is represented as the A star. Here A is atom in ground state which can absorb energy h mu, then it jumps to the excited state E2, that is A star. Then we can represent mathematically A atom in ground state which can absorb energy h mu of photon, then jumps to the excited state A star. This is the absorption of laser. Now a second principle is spontaneous emission. Second principle, spontaneous emission. In spontaneous emission, every atom has tendency to attain a lower energy state. Atom in excited state has no longer time stability. It is stable in excited state up to 10 raised to minus 8 seconds. After this time, the atom has naturally jumps to the lower energy state. Here we discuss even is a ground state. It will be excited state. Here atom is already in excited state. Now, due to spontaneous emission, here this is the spontaneous emission. In this figure, consider atom already in excited state E2 which has higher energy, but atom has tendency to attain the lower energy configuration. Means atom in excited state can jump to the lower state E1 with emission of photon of energy h mu. Means atom A star which jumps to the lower excited state as atom A with emission of energy h mu. Then mathematically we can represent it as A star gives us A plus h mu. This is a spontaneous emission. Third principle is stimulated emission. Third is stimulated emission. Stimulated emission. Atom in already excited state E2 when there is an incident photon of energy h mu. Photon of energy h mu is initially incident on excited atom. This photon can bring this excited atom to the downward direction, means there is a lower energy state. Then Here atom initially in excited state E2, then high energy photon H mu is incident on excited atom. Then this photon can carry this excited atom towards a downward direction, and after that it reaches to the ground state E1. Then emission of the energy. Here is a multiplication of incident photon takes place. It means there is the original incident photon and there is the energy of photon emitted by the emission or transition of atom from excited state to ground state. Means there is a multiplication of photon energy takes place. Mathematically we can represent it as A star plus H mu. A star gives A plus twice H mu. Means A star is the atom in excited state. This H mu is twice H mu, atom in ground state, and twice H mu means there is a initial high energy photon and the second photon energy due to the transition from excited state to lower state. These are the principles of laser. Today we discuss 3 points as a properties of laser, third principles of laser. Thank you. Now there is 2 terms or concept related to laser. First one, population inversion. Here we can represent a diagram. E1, this is ground state. E2, excited state. Population inversion means in this figure we can understand there is number of atoms in ground state is less than number of atoms in excited state. Means here concept population inversion means the number of atoms in excited state is greater than number of atoms in ground state. This phenomenon is called as population inversion. Now number of atoms in ground state is N1 and number of atoms in excited state is N2. Then the population inversion can be represented as an equation. N2 upon N1 is equal to e raised to minus E2 upon E1 divided by KT. In this figure, N2 is the number of atoms in excited state, N1 number of atoms in ground state, E2 is the energy of excited state, E1 is energy of ground state, K is Boltzmann constant and T is temperature. This is the mathematical expression of population inversion. Second concept is pumping. Pumping is the process of rising of number of atoms in ground state to excited state is called as pumping. Atom in excited state, atom in ground state can transfer or raise to excited state E2. This phenomena is called as pumping. There is basically 2 types of pumping. One is optical pumping and second is electrical pumping.